You're on the old restream, which is key, no pun intended, or pun intended, because that's been the issue lately. To a YouTube events. And there we go on YouTube. We are live. It is NBA Live Before Lock, brought to you by No House Advantage. We'll talk about them in just a little bit. We've got swaggy Adam Scherer there. He's wearing a jure tonight. He's got the gold, the bling, as the kids call it, the backwards hat. Should I join you with the backwards hat here? I've got several around. I look foolish in a backwards hat, but hey, why not? Apparently, Laffy is going to be the tipping point, Adam, of if he goes with glasses and a forward-facing hat to counterbalance all of the backward-facing hats. Apparently, he's turning heel on us.
Wait, Laffy has glasses now?
He made a mention on a show that he apparently this is the no hat or hat forward and glasses crowd of everybody that we brought in as our new analysts here at Awesemo. So me and Jake don't have either. That's about it. Then there's the whole backwards hat crowd, and then everybody that's new seems to have glasses or at least reflective blue glasses to not have to deal with staring at a computer all day. And then forward-facing hats or no hats. I don't know. Which do you prefer? You kind of originated this backwards hat thing amongst analysts anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Backwards hat's always been, normal for me.
Let me get that gold chain. They're estimating your gold chain's worth 50,000. Is that true? Is it worth 50? 5? Wait, I think your neck's turning green a little bit there.
Yeah. Somewhere between 50 and 50K.
There we are. All right. So we have one game tonight. We will get to it. We have 45 minutes to discuss. Not going to be a problem. We will cover that. I do want to mention that we have a ton of content starting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We are going 3 hours up until lock, and then, of course, we will have a 45 or 50-minute show right before Sunday Night Football. We also have plenty of baseball content. There's going to be NBA content as well, just not shows for those. And then I think hockey's now on every other day. I think this is the version of the final / Stanley Cup / whatever we're calling it here in pandemic land. But Adam, how have you been? It's been a whole week since I've chatted with you.
Yeah, doing well. Really fun time of year, I think. So many sports going on. NFL being back is obviously nice and gives you something to work on during the week. So yeah, it's been nice. Back to writing articles behind the paywall too, which has been nice. I hadn't wrote an article since March prior to writing an NFL lineup review on Monday, so that's been nice too.
Are you ready to say goodbye to baseball in 7 days?
No, that's pretty disappointing. But I mean, the playoff slate should be good for a while. They have half the league making the playoffs, right. So it should be here for a little bit.
All right, our free NBA content tonight is the ownership rankings. You guys can check that out by going to Awesemo.com. Look at the upper bar. You will see NBA as a header. Hover over that. You'll see pop-ups come up, and then navigate your way to ownership rankings. That is the free content tonight. We, of course, are sponsored by No House Advantage. They're putting a different spin on daily fantasy sports. Essentially, they're offering player prop contests across NBA, MLB, NFL, and PGA cash prizes. The difference here, this is what they call peer-to-peer. The hell's peer-to-peer? I don't know what that means. It means you're playing each other. Gamers versus gamers, not gamers versus the house. Big difference here. So you guys look at the line. We look at the line. Everybody playing in the contest looks at the line for the player props, of which there's about 70 or so for each one, multiple involved for each player. And then we decide, do we want the over or the under? Next wrinkle, we have to pick 5 of these. We weight them. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with our confidence rating, and that is how scores are created. It makes it a lot more interesting than just going against the house for player props. And the other nice thing is we do have these broken out with probability and likelihood of success, or I don't know that failure is the right word, Adam, or not meeting whatever benchmark has been posted for the day. Those are available here on Awesemo.com. So you'll want to check this out. Yeah, the prize pools aren't gigantic, but it's also winnable contests. Big important thing. Do you want to win Powerball? I do. What are your odds of winning Powerball? About the same of winning the Millie Maker on some of these weeks. Am I right, Adam? Or am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Switching to some of the smaller field, higher buy-in stuff, where you have a better chance of actually getting first place has been a change I've made recently, and it's gone really well.
All right. So, fun things for upcoming. If you're confident that Derrick Henry's going to run for more than 100 yards, put that in your 5 point spot. He's going against, I've lost track of all the sports. I'm literally doing all the sports today except for college football. I've got MMA, baseball, NASCAR, which just went live, hockey. It's out of control, Adam. Thank God my wife's out of town for today and tomorrow because I would be getting yelled at otherwise. But in any event, you can put that as your 5 point confidence rating there if you think he's going to get above or below 100 yards. And there you go. Off to the races. They're playing the Jags, I think. I've lost track. In any event, they do have an app. You go to nohouseadvantage.com when you make your first deposit. If you use the promo code Awesemo, they will match you up to $20. It's a good time. And if you refer a friend, and as soon as they make a deposit, they're going to cut you another $5 in site currency into your account. All right. Let's see. Miami's beating Washington. Not fun. Sorry, defending World Series champions. Not going to be a repeat there, Adam. Not going to be a repeat. You know what may not be a repeat? The Celtics playing poorly against the Heat. Down 2-0? Is it really 2? Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure. It is 2-0. What do you feel the odds of getting swept are here? We have two of the better coaches in the league. It feels like Coach Spo has been lucky? Good? I'm not sure. What do you want to do here from a macro perspective? This is not the usual home and away. The crowds are not going to be influencing anything. We're still in the Orlando bubble here. We've seen so many of these games go 5, 6, 7 in the series. It just feels like a Celtics win is due. Yes, I'm using the due factor because I got nothing else here in 2020. What do you want to macro level? What do you think's happening here? What adjustments and counter adjustments do you think are being made? And God bless Enes Kanter. Is he going to make an appearance? And is Robert Williams getting a DNP?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious big thing is you have Gordon Hayward likely back tonight coming off the bench for Boston. So that makes a big difference. Of course, getting him back in there, taking minutes away from, like Brad Wanamaker or Langford or Grant Williams, whoever. So that should make an impact. And yeah, I mean, as far as the odds of getting swept, I think it's really low. I think these are two pretty evenly matched teams. The Celtics obviously very, very good. I expect the series to go 7 games. 6 or 7 games, even with Miami having the 2-0 advantage.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog decided to leave the room. My wife's out of town, so my dog gets separation anxiety now, Adam, because we've been home for literally 7 months. So anytime someone's not in the house, it's time for alarm. Very weird to see that happen. But in any event, now she's wandering around trying to find my wife. She's not here. She's not in this state. All right, let's look at some of the fun stuff here. So you mentioned with Hayward, we haven't seen Hayward for a while. How much do you think this will muck up the rotation, and who do you think is going to be the odd man out in all of this, or is it just a little nibble from each person there on the Celtics?
I would expect that Wanamaker's the biggest loser here because since Hayward's been out, you've typically been seeing one of Wanamaker or Robert Williams get somewhat extended run. Normally, in the case of Williams, it's like 17 or 18 minutes. In the case of Wanamaker, he played 24 minutes last game. You've seen several games where he's gotten north of 22 minutes. I think with Hayward back, you're going to see Wanamaker most likely go back to being, if anything, being just like the backup basically behind Kemba. It wouldn't even be surprising if Wanamaker just doesn't play and Marcus Smart ends up being the backup behind Kemba, because obviously Hayward can play multiple positions. All these guys can play multiple positions for Boston. So I think that it's either going to be Grant Williams doesn't play and Wanamaker loses minutes, or Grant Williams keeps his normal role and Gordon Hayward takes Wanamaker's minutes, I think.
Does Robert Williams play or not play, and what do you think about Enes Kanter here?
I don't think Williams plays, just based on last game. Obviously, he didn't. Kanter, I don't think plays much either. You got basically, you got 10 minutes from him last game, most of it in the first half. In the second half, he only played 2.5 minutes. The final time in the fourth quarter when Daniel Tice subbed out, you had Grant Williams on the floor instead of Cantor. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see more of that. I don't remember if it was Draymond or I don't remember if it was Draymond or not, or someone who clearly would know what they were talking about that was pointing out that his solution would be more Grant Williams minutes at the 5. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Stevens go that route. But again, with Hayward being back, that makes it even easier to take minutes away from Cantor potentially too. So I'm not really looking to the backup centers. Hayward being back basically just makes me not interested in any of the Boston bench guys that aren't Hayward.
Yeah, I'm just playing 20 lineups tonight here. I really think I'm gonna have to zero out Robert Williams. It just doesn't feel reasonable if we're looking at him. Obviously, the DNP 11 minutes, 17 and 8. Granted, the last two were against Toronto. There, this just doesn't feel like a good spot for him. I'm still feeling a little burned by the one lonely little, I guess which digit I'm going to use on my hand to acknowledge JaVale McGee there. But the one little loneliest number for fantasy points. This just doesn't feel good. There's extra volatility in the mix here. I'm okay going away from either of the Williams. I am going to keep Cantor. However, I'm going to set him at 15% for Showdown, which is, I guess, risky, but that's where I'm going to go with that. As I look at the rest of the guys here, don't get a lot of warm and fuzzies pretty much for anybody. Marcus Smart, I'm guessing if Hayward's around, less shots. Daniel Tice, I'm guessing less shots, less rebounds. Kemba, maybe less attention on him, relatively unchanged. Jason Tatum, he's really good at yelling at his teammates. Can he translate that into fantasy points? Let's focus on that for a minute. How do you feel about Jason Tatum making the leap? If you were starting a franchise, would it be Jason Tatum and a Chili's franchise, or would it be Anthony Davis?
You cut out in the middle. Was the question Jason Tatum or Anthony Davis?
There was a Chili's franchise reference in there.
Okay.
Siege, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, different contracts, obviously, but if I'm trying to win a championship this year, it's Anthony Davis.
All right. So talk about Tatum. He yelled. Does this change anything? Does anything change anything? We are now 2+ months essentially into the playoffs here. Plus, we had our round of the feeder games here. Can Tatum take it to the next level? Is he in his own head? We're trying to find anything we have here, Adam. No stone unturned. What are we going to do here with Jason Tatum?
Treating him like normal. I mean, I don't really care what's happened in 2 games. Like it's still Jason Tatum. He's played 25 games this season with all of Hayward, Kemba, and Jalen Brown active. He's averaged 1.21 Draftkings points per minute. I expect huge minutes here. Obviously, this is a game that Boston has to win. You don't want to be down 3-0. Things really get dicey if that happens. Tatum's coming off of a 42-minute game. Last time out, he sat a total of about 30 seconds in the second half. Actually, 21 seconds. I expect another 42 minutes from him. Like I said, he's averaged 1.2 Draftkings points per minute. Maybe that comes down a little bit because of the matchup here, but I wouldn't expect it to come down too much. And even though he's expensive, if you're going to get that kind of run and that kind of production from him, I think he looks really good.
All right, for No House Advantage, sponsor of the NBA Live Before Lock tonight, Kemba Walker, they're over under, and again, we pick 5 questions. There are about 70 to choose from. Kemba Walker's benchmark for points is 19.5. We at Awesemo, or Alex Baker, I like to say, Alex Baker and I have combined to win millions of dollars in daily fantasy sports. Alex Baker has projected him for 16.81 points. The line is 19.5. That's a 70% chance of going under. How do you feel about Kemba Walker's chances of scoring 19 NBA points tonight?
I have him at exactly 19.
Well, technically it's 19.5, so I guess you're under.
How
I guess I'm under. Fervently do you feel about being under on that one?
I mean, I obviously think it's pretty close. Kemba hasn't played very well. I mentioned coming into this series that I kind of had mixed feelings about Kemba because on one hand, you had seen Nick Nurse in the prior series really scheming to take Kemba away, running just kind of weird defensive schemes, and it had worked. And so I figured that wouldn't really be the case here. But on the other hand, Miami's a very good defensive team. If you look at their numbers in the bubble and just during the regular season prior to the bubble, they were one of the teams allowing the fewest pick and roll possessions per game, which is where we know Kemba excels. So it's still not a very good matchup for him. That being said, I do expect him to play more minutes here. He only played 34 minutes last game. That was, lower than I think you expect. Probably gets 37, 38 here. His salary is, I guess, about where it should be. Like I would rather pay 10-4 for Tatum, I think, than pay 8-4 for Kemba on DraftKings. But I think as far as the points goes, it's the under, but not by a ton.
All right. Is there, and we'll have some time here for questions, is there anything else you want to mention about the Boston rotation? Because I've got a few questions here about the Scrub-a-Dubs from Miami.
So just to, I guess, to finish up with Kemba, he's for the season and played 29 games with Tatum, Hayward, with himself, Hayward and Brown. I typed that in wrong. He's played the 25 games with Hayward, Tatum, and Jalen Brown. He's averaged 1.11 DraftKings points per minute with a 25.9% usage percentage. Like I said, I do expect the usage percentage comes down a little bit because of this matchup. But if you're expecting around 37 minutes from him, I still think he has a game.
All right, I'm playing around here. I'm doing a couple one cash lineup, couple cash games here over on DK. Trying to find the captain. I prior to the Gordon Hayward news was working on a lineup with Goran Dragic as the captain, Tatum, Adebayo, Crowder, Tice, and Wanamaker. I'm not really thrilled to play Wanamaker at this point. I'm trying to figure out who I want to swap out there at captain. Right now I'm moving up Jay Crowder there because, hey, revenge. But you know who did not do well with revenge? Kelly Olynyk. What is going to happen with Olynyk? Let's start with the Miami less than stellar players here. We've got Olynyk. We've got Andre Iguodala, who will at least theoretically be on the court for 14 to 20 minutes, depending on the vagaries of how much his, a sore hip or ankle? Sore ankle can handle it here. I'm not excited about him. At this point, he's there for his defense and, I guess, steadying hand in the locker room. I'm thinking about going Jay Crowder at my captain spot. Is that a fool's errand?
I mean, it's better than going Wanamaker or whatever you had said you were doing before.
It was not captain. That was just flex.
Oh, okay. I was real confused by that one.
Sorry. It was the Dragon was my captain.
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal, but the problem you're going to run into is that either it's really tough to feel good at all about any of the value from these two teams. Both rotations are going to be tight. And with Hayward coming back, you don't even really know what Boston's is going to look like. So if you look at your showdown lineups, you're basically either going to have to play like Enes Kanter, who is really popular, may or may not even get minutes, and get like a quote unquote real captain, or you're gonna have to play a more questionable guy at captain, like a Duncan Robinson, Daniel Tice, Jay Crowder type guy who isn't as exciting, but will let you get six actual rotation players into your lineup and not have to worry about Kanter. I like that approach here because for a couple reasons. For one, again, I have no idea if Kanter even plays. Like, it's very easy to see him losing the minutes here. Two, we have him projected for like 30+% ownership. So let's say he does play. He's not playing a lot of minutes, so you need him to produce well in limited minutes. But like, what's the bonus for that? You're still competing with a third of the field if all those things happen. I would rather just take the approach where I'm getting six actual rotation players that are going to probably play 30+ minutes. Crowder, not that he'd be my favorite captain because it is still Jay Crowder, but it's certainly someone that fits the bill there as far as you're expecting him to play 30+ minutes coming off of a 36-minute game last time out. We've seen him typically playing 33 to 36 minutes. So no problems with that.
Yeah, the hard part is the rotation player ends up being Duncan Robinson, who's probably not going to be in the closing lineup, may get somewhere between 20 and, say 32 minutes, may or may not take a bunch of threes, may or may not make said threes. It's a question mark. We're going to see Miami in the finals, aren't we? I'm just not seeing the shape up any other way.
I mean, I would say that we're probably going to see either Miami or Boston.
He's not here as the best analyst in DFS for nothing, folks. I picked Miami in 6. I do. My friends in Australia, which I am in a league with for fantasy basketball, and by the way, those guys watch more NBA than anybody I know. They call it tips. So it's I have no idea why, but it's the tipping pool. So to set up our draft for our season long league for the next year, we have to choose number of games that the series goes and who wins, and then you get points based upon that. So if you say, hey, my team's going to win in 6 games and they sweep in 4, you get less points than somebody that said, hey, I'm yada yada yada. So it's this whole convoluted thing. I've got Miami in 6. I'm feeling the public is on Boston at this point, Adam. That just seems kind of silly. We've missed Hayward for long enough. I don't think it's going to change enough here. And I think it has an equal opportunity of changing things for both maybe the better and also mucking up what's going on right now. Almost feels like there's some desperation here with Boston. I don't feel great about any of the Celtics outside of Kemba. I don't even feel great about Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see it that way. Like, okay. It's a 2-0 series lead, but the first game was an overtime win by 3 points, where in the fourth quarter Boston had a 14-point lead. The second game, Boston had a 17-point first half lead, and the game was close throughout. Boston was winning in the fourth quarter. They ended up losing by 5. I think it's still 2 very evenly matched teams, and now Boston's getting Hayward back.
All right, I'm going to upload my lineups because I feel comfortable with these. So focusing more onto, let's finish up one other guy. What the hell's going on with Kelly Olynyk? Is he out there for fouls at this point? Because he's not even shooting when he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's back up to Bam Adebayo. So you should pretty much be giving 48 combined minutes to Bam and Olynyk.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what we haven't talked about? Groups or settings. What do you like or not like here from we're on Miami now, let's just stay with Miami. So no Bam, no Olynyk, any other pairings? How do you feel about Tyler Hero, Robinson, Kendrick Nunn's back again? What do you want to do with the rest of Miami with regards to restricting players in the single game slate?
Yeah, so the big one we mentioned, Olynyk and Adebayo, you're pretty much just seeing 48 minutes there. One rule that I've been using for most of the postseason has been maximum one of Hero and Robinson. I don't think I would use that one today. I wouldn't want like all my lineups to have it, but last game you did see, of course Iguodala didn't play the second half, but neither did Kendrick Nunn. Derek Jones soaked up 8.5 minutes, so you can basically say that was Iguodala. In the second half, you had Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson play alongside each other in the fourth quarter. Robinson only played 3 minutes and 37 seconds of the fourth quarter, but that's more than he had typically been playing in the season. So I think that's kind of interesting. In game 1, he also played. Wait, do I have the same game up twice? No. In game 1, he played 5 minutes and 51 seconds in the fourth quarter. In last game, he played 3:37. So you're getting a little bit more run in the fourth quarter from him, and getting him up to around 30, 32 minutes. If you're also going to get around 30, 32 from Hero, I think you can play them together. Again, it's not my favorite pairing, but since I'm not really trying to have cheap backup guys in my lineups, that does mean I'm going to have to go more to that price range of guys like Robinson and Hero. So I'm okay with getting them together. Just wouldn't want it in a ton of lineups.
Okay. All right. Reminder, guys, we are going live at 10 a.m. Eastern Sunday morning. We're going to give you 3 hours live until lock, nothing but NFL. We've got all sorts of goodness there. You're going to get Lofty. You're going to get the boss man himself, Alex Baker. You're going to get Ben Rasa. They're going to go for somewhere between 80 and 90 minutes. Then you're going to get a little bit of a injury show that is the actives, inactives news. And then that will be with Terry McBride. And then coming down the home stretch, it is going to be Josh Engelman and Greg Ehrenberg. And they will be talking about exposures, mass multi-entry, head-to-head, cash games, anything that you want. They will be answering a ton of questions. And we, of course, will get the Josh Engelman 100 yards and a touchdown call. Is it good? Is it bad? Does he mush us all? Tune in and find out. Adam, I'm looking over here for Jimmy Butler. I know you've got your projection model up. We are looking at 19 and a half points here, literally across the board. I've got 5 books up all at once. How am I doing that? Well, I'm utilizing Odd Shopper by Awesemo. I'm going to drop that link into chat here, but I do want to point out that that is another site that we have here. If you go to Awesemo.com, look across the top banner there, you are going to see Odd Shopper. You're going to see Awesemo Odds. You're going to see the Awesemo Podcast Network. You're going to see Awesemo season-long NFL football, and then, of course, DFS. Got all sorts of goodness there. Adam, I am seeing across the board 19 and a half with almost even juice on either side, basically running between 107 minus 107 on the under and 114 on the over. 19 and a half. What are you feeling about Mr. Jimmy Butler here? Points scored.
Yeah, I don't have a strong take on that. I have him at a shade over 20. So if I had to bet it, I would take the over, but I don't think it's by a substantial margin.
Right. Just looking to see if there are, and it's playoffs, basketball, so not really any sites are making a particular stand here. But we do have all of the sports. Player props are key. I always find it hard to find a bunch of player props. This is great for me, for especially for NFL, because it's yards, passing yards, rushing yards, touchdown props, all that fun stuff. It's an easy way to look at things. Same thing for MLB pitchers, and you can get a bunch of comparators across the sites all at once without having to chase it down. I find it very good. It has been a lot of fun looking at it, and I can't wait until Virginia comes online. We have approved sports betting here, but they said it's not going to actually be live until at some point in 2021. Thank you, slush funds. In any event here, Adam, as we move on to Dragic, Hero, what do you want to do here? Bam Adebayo. This is like the multi-headed Hydra here. What do we think will happen with the Heat? They've got a bunch of capable players. No absolutely dominant apex predator, though. Or is it Jimmy Butler?
So, I mean, the thing is, it's Butler, but he's so willing to defer and to basically just do whatever it takes to win that you don't always get those dominant high usage games. You know, when you're projecting this game out, the highest usage rate actually goes to Goran Dragic, at least in my opinion, and Butler comes in second. So it does give Dragic that high ceiling. The potential problem you run into, though, is that Butler's still the guy. So while Dragic has the higher usage rate, you run the risk at least of Butler taking over at any one point. Plus, you assume Butler probably plays a couple more minutes than Dragic. Their salaries are reasonably close. Dragic a little bit cheaper. So I think they grade out pretty similarly. Bam looks pretty nice. The usage, of course, isn't as high as Dragic or as high as Butler, but he does contribute in every category. The rebound should be there. The assist should be there. He's playing pretty big minutes. Last game, he played 35, a little over 35 minutes. Game 1, including overtime, he played 43, so he played 38 in regulation. I would expect around 36 here. He's basically the same price point as Jimmy Butler, so I would rank them Bam, Butler, Dragic, but I think that I probably get to the most Bam.
All right, that is, I'm just double checking. It looks like the same order that Awesemo has those projected in. That would be Alex Baker. Dropping the link in chat. Our free NBA tool for the day is the NBA ownership rankings. This is part of the Express package, which you can get on the cheap. It's not the actual individual player percentages, but if you're looking at this, you can put together a player pool and figure out what Alex is doing as well. You can get a fighting chance coming in for just $1 or $2 a week to have some fun. And that's what DFS is all about. For most of us, having a little fun, having a little rooting interest, a little entertainment dollar. Let's try to stretch that. Check out that particular free tool today. Let's anything else you want to hit? We got about 15 minutes left. I think we're good to ask some questions here. Adam, this will be the third time we've seen this game. If you're looking at any maybe some two-day contests here, do you want to lean towards tonight's game? You feeling anything for the Lakers and Denver matchup tomorrow? How would you approach the 2-game slate? Because I'm still feeling a little injured from the JaVale McGee kick in the teeth.
Yeah, I mean, hadn't really given too much thought to it, but um, I think obviously the true stars are on tomorrow's, so you would be paying up for LeBron or Davis or Jokic. The problem is that there's not really much value as we talked about from tonight's game. You do get some value tomorrow where you have one of the centers. Dwight Howard obviously started the second half, so he played 16 minutes. You can look to one of those guys. You have all the wings on the Lakers, so it does open up some more value as well. I think that a lot of the best plays end up coming from tomorrow. Tatum is the one that really stands out from this one, as well as Daniel Tice on the game slate, I think.
Yeah, those are two of the main guys I have going tonight in my lineups. We'll see if I can do anything. Being hamstrung with 29% of my 2-day lineups having JaVale McGee. Fortunately, 10% do have Dwight Howard. That was just a function of me not going in and changing his number. That worked out potentially in my favor. We will see what happens tonight. How do you feel about Tyler Hero this evening? Just from in a vacuum. What are your specific thoughts on him as we answer questions? And we've got 15 minutes. We'll take questions.
I think he's a good option because, again, from a roster construction standpoint, I think you want to be going to as many rotation players as you can get. So Hero helps with that. He is a little more expensive than you would like, coming in at 7,200 on DraftKings. For comparison, Duncan Robinson only 5,400. So I do expect that Hero plays a couple more minutes than Robinson. But Robinson's salary is so much cheaper that if I'm only going to one, I think Robinson opens up a little bit more. Exposure wise, I would expect just from running like my top lineups to get more Robinson than Hero just because of the salary. But Hero, I fully expect to close this game out.
All right, Hero or Smart for the flex position on FanDuel?
On FanDuel, I would say so. Hero's 10K and Smart is 9,500. So basically, just higher projection. I think it's Smart.
All right. They're asking for thoughts on Daniel Tice. Would he be a flex play on either side?
Yeah, I think that he's one of the better values. He comes in at 8K on FanDuel, which is fine. And then on DraftKings, he is only, I think, 6,200. So yeah, he's still cheap there. You're expecting big minutes from him. I don't think that changes. He played 32 minutes last game. Typically, you've been seeing him play 30 to 34 as long as he doesn't stay in, or as long as he doesn't get in foul trouble. So he's not going to be a high usage guy. Obviously, he's basically fifth behind every other starter, and then also he'll be behind Hayward in terms of usage. But he should be out there. He is relatively inexpensive. And again, without these cheap guys to go to, you kind of are going to have to play some questionable producing starters. And I think Tice is cheap enough where he helps you fill out your lineup.
All right, this question is for FanDuel. So 3 points for steals and assists, with the turnovers weighing in a little heavier. Brian Velasquez would like to know, who are your favorite captains on FanDuel? For Awesemo, quick peek behind the curtain, for MVP on FanDuel, we have Jason Tatum coming in at 93 points. He is 16,000, 1,000 less. You've got Bam Adebayo coming in at 1/6 of the ownership at 80 points. And then you've got Jimmy Butler coming in 2,000 less than Jason Tatum. He is coming in at a quarter of the popularity and 15 points less. How do you feel about Tatum, Adebayo, and Butler?
I have Tatum by a pretty wide margin. So, and the salaries aren't that different. Excluding ownership considerations, it's pretty much Tatum for me. Obviously, he's going to lose a decent percentage of the time in any given game to Bam or Butler. So I don't mind pivoting there in tournaments, but Tatum would be my first option.
All right. How much, your best guess, what in fantasy points do you think Gordon Hayward will put up tonight? I'm trying to consolidate. Yeah, I was going to say my thought was the range is 20 to 25. Is there upside with him? I mean, unless he goes 7 of 8 on his shot attempts.
Right. I mean, it's tough. Who knows how many minutes he's going to play? They said they're going to monitor his minutes. We don't really know what that means. All that we know is that if he does play, he's coming off the bench. My best guess is you get like 20 to 22 minutes from him. If you assume around the fantasy point per minute, you're looking at 20 to 22 fantasy points.
All right, 11 minutes to go here, gamers. We've got either site, Walker or Dragic, if you're playing them. I'm going to lean towards Dragic on FanDuel and Walker on DK.
I would lean Walker on DraftKings. I would lean Walker on both.
Okay. Here's another loop back. We got 10 minutes to go. Is Wanamaker a good flex for DK?
I don't think so. I'm not convinced he plays.
If not him, who do you look to down in that cheap end range? We already know that the floor can be, or the rug can be pulled out from us at any time on either of the Williams. Tice is not really cheap. Robinson, not particularly cheap. I mentioned he can play somewhere between 20 and 32 minutes. That's right. Not the most comforting feeling there. What do we do with the value now that Hayward's back? Is there any value? There's a better question. Is there any?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really want to go to any of the really cheap guys. Enes Kanter would be the one that I guess you go to because he's only 1,600 on DraftKings. But Hayward being back, it's really difficult to know exactly what's going to happen because Hayward and everyone on this team can play so many positions. So, and if you go back and look at the end of last game, you had Grant Williams in instead of Kanter. So, does Boston run it where Wanamaker loses minutes because Marcus Smart plays backup point guard and Hayward takes the wing minutes, and then Grant Williams plays basically the backup behind Tice? They could do that, in which case Kanter and Wanamaker both, neither one are really playing. Or Semi could lose minutes. It's just, I really have trouble getting it because it's not like you're going to be the only person that does it. Kanter is obviously the cheapest of the group and the one that, if he does play 10 minutes or so, can pay off a $1,600 salary. So it's not like you're going to be alone in doing it. I would just so much rather get 6 actual starters that can play 30 plus minutes here.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
Starters plus hero, basically, including him with the starter.
Yeah, right.
And 6 real rotation.
Yeah, rotation players. Rotation players is what we're going with. Hey, hit that like button here. Reminder, 3 hours of NFL content tomorrow. If you have not yet signed up for No House Advantage, it is a peer-to-peer prop betting site. What it does is not even prop betting. It's just contests. So you play against other gamers, not the house. Hence the name, No House Advantage, because they don't have an advantage. It's us against each other. So you want to check that out. Get about 70 questions per slate. Awesemo himself on Awesemo.com has probabilities for each of the player props. From there, you choose a confidence rating, 5 through 1. 5 your most confidence, 1 in something happening or not happening, 1 your least, and then from there, you're playing head-to-head. So it's a lot of fun over there. Smaller contests, but actually winnable contests. There is overlay. This is by design. And when you sign up using the promo code Awesemo, if you put in up to $20, they will match you up to $20. You refer any of your friends, they mention your name, say, hey, this guy sent me over there. You get another $5 as soon as they make a deposit. Great way to go there. Adam, what are the odds, percentage-wise, that Enes Kanter plays tonight? I'm saying 65%.
I would say like 50.
50? Okay. What are the odds that Robert Williams plays tonight? I'm going 40%.
I would say like 20. How
about Grant Williams?
65.
Okay. What does anything you want to mention about Grant Williams? By default, he's gonna be out there. This is like one of the weirder slates we've run into because Gordon Hayward coming back mucks everything up because he's gonna vacuum up, as you mentioned, 20 to 25 minutes. That's just crushing everybody else.
I expect like 8 to 12 minutes. It's not. I just don't want to go to these value guys, and I don't think you need to.
Sean McCarthy, are you guys just guessing? Yes. Yes, we are. We're trying to make this educated of a guess as we can. It's called analysis,
but
but we're guessing.
Haven't talked to Brad Stevens today, unfortunately.
Didn't return my calls. Did not return my calls. Here's a pair here. On FanDuel, would you go Bam and Tice? And this is, I don't know who's getting what multipliers, but just assume single across the board. Bam or Tice, Walker and Dragic.
So Bam, Tice, or Walker, Dragic?
Yep.
I think Walker, Dragic. I think the ceiling's just higher there since, basically Tice is never taking over a game offensively, and really neither is Bam. Bam obviously can give you the really big games in a variety of ways, but you at least have the potential for like Dragic and Kemba to both take on big scoring roles.
Yes. And Sean, no, this was no slight on you. This is just like a weird wrinkle that we have not encountered in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Boston especially, like they just have all their guys play every position. So if Stevens wants to have Brad Wanamaker still play 18 minutes, he can. If he wants Brad Wanamaker to play 0 minutes, he also can. Like, they're not going to have any issue position-wise doing that. Same goes for Cantor. Same goes for Grant Williams. Based on the way the rotations went last game, my assumption is that Williams is the head of Enes Kanter in the rotation. And my assumption based on previous games this year is that Marcus Smart is ahead of Brad Wanamaker as the backup point guard when with Hayward being in. Could be wrong. Maybe again, Stevens can pretty much do whatever he wants because all of his guys can defend every position on the floor. Almost all of the guys.
So Sean says, "Hey, I get it, guys. I have a headache. You know what? Adam's gonna go have a shower cry after the show." So that's sort of where we are at the moment here. Kemba or Tatum, best captain? That's actually a reasonable question.
So I
mean, just confidence-wise,
I would rather have Tatum, but the problem is that if you go Tatum, you have to get one of these really cheap guys. So I think that it's more likely you get Kemba in a full lineup
style. All right. Which question is more? And I'm saying this with love. Or which statement is more egregious? Bam MVP in every lineup or Smart MVP in every lineup? They might just be playing one.
I would prefer Bam MVP.
Right. Does Jalen Brown cross the threshold of having him as our captain or MVP?
It really depends on the rest of the lineup. He's at that price point where it might be kind of tough to get 5 other guys that are actually going to play big minutes in there. But he definitely has the upside where I have no issue with him being captain. Because the thing is, like, it's going to be on DraftKings, it's going to be tough to get to Tatum without going to one of these terrible backups that may or may not play. So the thing is, though, you need to make sure that whoever you are playing has the upside to at least come close to Tatum, because you don't want to be in a position where Tatum just outscores the entire slate, basically, which he can do. But someone like Jalen Brown, someone like Kemba, somebody like Smart, someone like Bam, they're going to be most likely at least in the same range as Jason Tatum, where you're not giving up so many points that you lose anyway.
All right, everybody hit the like button right now, and Adam's going to answer a question here for Elon Musk. I didn't believe it myself, but he just cruised in here in a Tesla. Elon Musk would like to know, Tice, Robinson, or Hayward? No side given.
Tice, Robinson. I would lean towards it. So if we're excluding salary, I would lean toward Tice. I think he plays the most minutes, most likely. And it's not like Robinson is super productive either on a per minute basis. If you're factoring in salary, I would expect to get a bit more Robinson on DraftKings than Tice just because he is a little bit cheaper.
All right, 90 seconds to go. No set given, Dragic or Hero. I'm leaning the Dragon.
Yeah, if you can get to Dragic, then go Dragic.
Odds of Cantor having a 2020 game. It is 2020, so I'm going to give him a 0.69% chance, which is nice.
Yeah, there you
go. I think that's going to do it. Thoughts on Butler, DK? Wrap it up here. This is from Premium Chat.
Thoughts on? I mean, it's Jimmy Butler. Play him if you can. I don't really understand the question.
That's okay, because we're at lock. And there we are. Guys, this was an odd one. This is what it is going to be like. We've got some fun, though. Let's harken back to March, was it 11th, 12th, 13th? I forget. We'll just call that Rudy Gobert Day. We have sports, which is nice. We've got some college football. We have content we've got free shows, we have free articles, and we are working on the projection model. Little wrinkle in that right now because it's 2020. We'll just leave it at that. But we will have that shortly, probably week after next for that. And then we've got tomorrow 3 hours of NFL content before lock. We've got an hour after on this channel. Hit the subscribe button to YouTube. We're putting up on average, Adam, can you believe this? On average, 6 hours and 15 minutes of content per day over the last 2 weeks.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. That is like almost a network at this point. I am just saying we're out there. But jump on in. We're coming back here in doing the math. 11 and a half hours. We've got NFL wall to wall. You're going to get the Boss Man, Laffy, and Ben Raza leading off at 10 a.m. tomorrow, right here on the Awesemo YouTube channel. With that, gamers, you can follow Adam at ShipMyMoneyDFS on Twitter. I am at EMac DFS. And of course, it is Awesemo_COM